Hello there everyone, today we're going to tie this. This is called the Silver Fox, and this is a black variant of this. It's a highly efficient pattern for trout, especially during the dusk and the night fishing that we do a lot of here in Denmark and in all of the northern part of Europe. Night fishing for sea trout on the coast, but this pattern is kind of an imitation of a small bait fish. So this would be efficient for lake trouts as well, and probably for trouts in stream also. It's not a very difficult pattern, but it's, as I said, a highly effective pattern. I'm gonna tie on the Ahrex light stinger in size 6. That's a nice all-round size for trouts in general. So one of the key elements of this fly is to actually use a red tying thread. So we're gonna do that. Basically, as always, I start by getting the thread here down to where the hook starts to bend. And as I said, it's not a very complex pattern, but the style in this fly is fairly universal and can be used in many different colors. The original pattern is in light brown tannish variation also. So the first thing is we need some Arctic Fox in black. This is going to be, we're going to use this 4 times for all 3 wings and for the fake hackle that's going to be on this fly as well. I simply just take out all the longest of these hairs in order to get a more uniform tail here. So I have a more uniform and more complete tail. Tie this down here. And what I do is I tie all the way up to maybe half of the body here with all these hairs, so that the body has the same thickness all the way up along the hook shank. That gives a more complete and uniform look to the fly. I'm gonna cut off the hairs right there, and then we add a bit of weighting to get this fly a bit down in the water or the current if you're gonna use this in fresh water in a stream. So I take some non-lead wire here and put some weight on the front part of the fly here, like that. Then we need to tie down the rib of this fly, and for this I'm going to use some mirror opal tinsel, like this, and it has to be fairly thick in order to be as visible as possible. So I tie this on one of the sides and make sure that it's fastened completely down to where the tail starts, like so. Then I'm gonna cut off the stump like that, and then I'm gonna make my body out of dubbing. And the dubbing I'm gonna use is some black SLF squirrel dub. It has a lot of nice longer coarser hairs, so it's nice for flies of this type. You can brush it out and it will give a more translucent and complete look to the fly. So basically just like that. And we want this to taper, so it should be a bit thinner as it should gradually become thicker the longer you get up along the hook shank, away from the tail, like so. That looks very nice. Then I'm gonna tie down the next part. It's a wing, and this black wing is not gonna be as long as the tail. It's basically just gonna be a small wing to give kind of the fly kind of like the same effect as maybe you would say a songer or something like that, but not completely as dense as a songer wing is. So maybe about half, it's going to go down half the length of the into the length of the tail, like this. There you have it. I'm going to cut off that. Maybe a bit more. I need to cut a bit more out of this, like so. And then basically it's just rinse and repeat. Add some more dubbing. Some more black dubbing here. You don't have any holes on your side of the the fly neither. That's good. Bit more dubbing. And as I said, this is a fly that's designed for night fishing for sea trout, but I'm sure it will work great for trouts anywhere. So like that. And then I'm gonna take my rib here. I'm gonna turn it so it gets as evenly distributed, and the turns are gonna be even. And you have to fit this into so that it does not compromise the wing. And as you can see, that was not the right, because that was not the right length between these, because I was going to the rib were going to mesh down my tail. So that's probably the hardest part of this fly, is to get the rib to be distributed and even all the way up the hook shank here. That takes a bit of practice to get this part right, but I think I managed there. It looks very, very good on my side. I don't know how it looks. Yeah, it's fairly even on yours. It is even on your side as well. And that's probably the hardest part of this fly. Also, ideally, you want 5 turns of rib on all sides. So I started on my side. That means I should end on my sides, and I did that. So you will have 5 turns of the rib on your side. There will be 5 turns if you look from the top and from the bottom if you do it like this. So I take another bundle of Arctic Fox here, and because you have quite a lot of distance from the dubbing down to where my tying thread is, this can have a tendency, this last wing can have a tendency to stand a bit too much out, to simply, point too much upwards. So it's important that you try to even that out with your tying thread. This should be a bit longer, so this should be reach longer than the middle tail, but not completely as long as the tail, like so. As you can see, it's standing quite a lot up from the hook here, so I'm trying to rectify that by forcing it downwards. That looks okay. I'm gonna cut this off. And here it's important that you have a very nice pair of scissors, because you want this to be cut this off as close to as you can. And since this is Arctic Fox, you need to apply a lot of pressure to the tying thread. Like that. And then I'm going to take a small bundle again to use for the artificial hackle that's going to be underneath here. Again, I prepare it the same way as I did all the others, like that. And this is only going to be about half the length of the hook shank. Like that. Cut off the leftover. This actually looks very, very nice, and I'm very pleased with the result here. As you can see, looks very nice. Like that. I'm gonna make a whip finish, and then the fly is done. Of course, need to add a bit of varnish. Probably you could also pull out some of the dubbing to give it a more translucent effect and a more like that. This fly tends to have a bit bigger head than what you would probably prefer. It's easy to make this fly a very smart fly with a fairly large head because of all the hairs you're tying down, all the Arctic fox. But this looks very good. So I'm gonna take some Sabagap here and apply this to the head. Like so. You can use varnish, of course, but I find that this Sabagap really works well. And well, basically, there you have it. The silver fox in black. So the black silver fox, which is kind of a strange thing to call it because it has absolutely nothing to do with silver fox. But, well, there you have it. If you haven't already, then please subscribe to the channel and swing by my webshop, flytying.eu, to find the full material kits for this fly. Thank you for watching, and have fun on the water. Bye.